Hi, this is Amber from the A-Team. I wanted to go over a basic introduction of the interface of Google Drive, but before I do that, I do want to point out something that is a super helpful tip when using Google Drive. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to the waffle, or some people refer to it as the Rubik's Cube. But when I click on that Google Apps menu, there's several different things available to me, and one would think that if I'm looking for a Google Doc, I would go to Docs, or a sheet, I would go to Sheets, or if I were looking for a presentation, I would go to Slides. I do want to show you that when you access an app that is specific to the type of document, like Docs, Sheets, or Slides, you will be taken to a window that shows an availability of templates, and it basically shows every document you have access to. Now this can be overwhelming if you're looking for something in particular. So this is one thing that we recommend you not do, is actually go to just that specific app until you get more familiar with Google Drive. So some people would think I need a sheet, so I'm just going to go to Sheets. And if I didn't have very many, that would be one thing. But you know, we have some areas where people share documents county-wide, and so you will have an overwhelming amount of documents in there that may not even be owned by you, so it can be a bit confusing. So what we recommend is always going to Drive. And when you go to Google Drive, you're actually accessing the container that has items not only that you owned or uploaded, but also that have been shared with you. So I'm going to give a basic overview of the interface, but one of the things I do want to explain to you is Google Drive is basically a giant container, or a giant filing cabinet, and it's filled with things that you place in it, but it's also has some extra areas where people can add things to your drive or share things with you, so it's a flexible filing cabinet. So we're going to kind of go over the interface and let this be just kind of a basic introduction to what Google Drive is and what the menus do. So we're going to talk a lot later about creating things in Drive, so we're going to skip this new button for now, and we're going to go on the left hand side and look at the menu items that run down the side. On the left you'll see My Drive. Now this is the drive that's your filing cabinet. This is your place to store materials. It's your place to add things that other people have shared with you, but it's a basic giant filing cabinet for you. Were you to create folders in your drive, they appear in your drive here, and files appear underneath. If you do have folders, you'll start to see a little toggle button so that when you open it, your folders will show up here to make it easier to navigate as things get more full in your drive. Under that, some of you will see team drives. We will begin using team drives a lot more in the 2019-2020 school year, so you will see this team drive access, and we'll talk more about team drives later, so we're going to skip that for now. Underneath that, you will see Shared with Me. Many people get confused with Shared with Me. This is really just a quick place that you can go to see all the documents that have been shared with you. Now the thing to keep in mind is that this is not a static folder where you can add things to it. This is a place that you can go to see all the items that have been shared with you. You don't ever need to go in that container if you don't want to, but sometimes if you're looking for something and that was just shared with you, it's a quick way to get to it. But it's basically just a place to have all those items that are not yours but have been shared with you. Underneath that, you will see Recent. Recent shows things that you have accessed at a specific time. So as you use your drive more, you'll see different areas. So I have here, because this is a test account, I have some that I accessed earlier this year, but this might say today if I had just accessed some of these files. Then we have older files, and then we have some things I've never accessed. But Recent is a place that I go to a lot if I was on another computer and I was working on something and I left that computer and I wanted to open back that same document. I go to Recent and I'm able to access it much faster by seeing it in the Recent folder. Then we have Starred. If you haven't used stars before, that is a super helpful thing. So I'm going to actually go back to my drive a little bit and show you how this works. So let's say I have this sample document and I use it all the time and I need to be able to put my hands on it quickly. So you can actually right-click on a file and you can choose Add to Starred. So I'm going to do that, and you'll notice when I right-click back on it, it says Remove from Starred. But I do want to open the document and show you that at the top of my document now, there's going to be a little yellow star that shows I have starred this document. You can also remove that star here by just clicking on it, but now I'm going to show you why that's a helpful thing. So I'm going to close this document, and I'm going to say that I have tons and tons of things in my drive, so it's not as easy as finding it here. Now I could go to recent if I just clicked on it, but starred is only going to contain those things that you deem important enough to put a star. So if there are things I access a lot, spreadsheets I use a lot, or policies that I need to look at quickly, I star those so that if it's something I use very frequently, I'm always going to find it there. And you can star files and folders as well. So that's just a quick way to access materials as your starred folder. So now let's talk about trash. Trash is the area in your drive where anything you throw away is going to appear in trash. And this is a place also that you can select things and permanently delete them or empty the trash, but it's also a place that you can right-click and restore something if you inadvertently threw something away. And again, it does take about 30 days before that trash can will be emptied for you, so you have 30 days to rescue something should you have accidentally deleted it. So those were the items across the left-hand side. So now let's move up to the top. On the right-hand side of your drive, you're going to see some tools, and one of these is called View. So notice now, if I hover over this, it's called List View. Some people prefer to have their items in their drive as a list. You'll notice the quick access bar at the top didn't change because this always stays as little icons, but this is the ability to change the view down beneath that. So I can go back from grid to grid view if I prefer, but I do want you to notice that no matter what your preference, your folders will be at the top and your files beneath them with the quick access documents across the top. So regardless of what you choose, you will have that same structure, folders at the top, files beneath. This is totally a personal preference, whatever you choose. I personally like to get a little sneak peek of a document because sometimes the title may not really clarify for me what that is, so it's up to you. After that, you're going to have a button called View Details. I use this a lot. Now, if you haven't selected anything, you're just going to see basic information about my drive, and this will tell you the activity that's happened into it lately. And if I click on Details, it's going to tell me I need to select a file in order to do that. So just for fun, I'm going to click on one of my documents so that you can see when you click on a document, it will change and show you that there has been activity. It also, if you have a document selected, will show you details about that document. So here is a copy of a document, and the details show me where it is and who owns it. Because a lot of times you'll see things in your drive that you may not know who owned it or how it got there. So by clicking on it and clicking on the View Details button, you can get information about when it was created, when it was last modified, and who the owner is. So it actually gives you a lot of information about the document. The Activity tab gives you even more because you can see who has had that most recent activity and what all happened to the document. So this is an important document if you're kind of looking for the history of something. So that is your View Details button, and if you want to close it, you can either click Hide Details or you can just click the X and make it disappear. Also, you'll notice now that I have a document selected, I have additional items across the top. So let's talk about those for a moment. The first one is called the Get Shareable link. Now, if I have a document open and I click on this, if I haven't shared it before, it's going to give me some sharings that I need to do. And I have it turned off on this document because this is a personal document. So if I go here, it's going to automatically change to anyone in the district can find it and view it if they have the link. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to show you that you can also do share this way, and this is the share button where you can get into some more advanced things, and you can actually expire the amount of time they have access to your document and some other things, which will be covered in document sharing, but that's where that item is. You also have a preview button, and this is to me really helpful if you have it in list view and you don't have that little preview that grid view gives you. So if I need to see a little preview of this document but I don't want to double click on it and open it, I can just click the eyeball and get a slight preview of whatever's in that document. Boy, that's a super exciting document, and I'll be able to see what's inside. Lastly, in that you see a trash can, and that is a way that you can just remove your document. Notice it says remove and not delete, because this is not actually deleting, it's putting it in the trash can. So that's just something to think of, removing it from your drive into the trash can. Beside the trash can you have the ellipsis, and with the ellipsis you have some additional things like moving, adding stars to certain things, viewing details, make a copy, download, etc. You can get this same menu by right-clicking on whatever it is that you want to see. You get all these icons that were at the top right-hand corner, but then you also get your right-click options will give you that more options menu. So don't forget, right-clicking is also something that you can do. So that's a basic overview of what's available into your drive. We will talk about drive settings a little later, but basically you've got your menu across the left. Your items across the top will change depending on if you have anything selected. And just think about this as your giant filing cabinet that has more access and security than just a typical filing cabinet. And we'll talk more about that as we get into greater detail about Google Drive.